Hey, what's up, you fucking civilians? This is Officer Daryl Flanagan from the Newark Police Department here with Copcast.
Hi, everyone. My name is Officer Howard Schultz-Meyer from the Seattle Police Department. Happy to be on Copcast.
This is Lieutenant Rory Mullen from the LA Police Department.
And this is former Detective John McGlincy from Long Island.
Former?
Yeah. Did you retire?
I did not retire. Some may call it paid leave without the pay. Others may call it I was fired. It goes by many names.
That's too bad. I'm so sorry to hear that, my friend.
Hey, you're still a blue blood
Once
in
you
my
go blue,
book, buddy.
you never go back.
Exactly, that's what I'm always saying. Blue lives. You got anything to say about that, Officer Howard Schultz?
Not a lot. We've just been working on some community outreach in Seattle, so I'm excited to be here and talk about it. We've been engaging a lot on social media, which, we get some negative feedback. Lots of people are kind of biased against cops. Some of us use the term racist.
I can second that one strongly. Nowadays, everyone jumps straight to fuck cops. Someone played me a clip of a song, fuck 12, which apparently also means fuck cops.
Oh, I've heard that one many times.
Well, I'm excited to share that we in Seattle have decided to engage in a new form of community outreach. You all are familiar with the Blue Lives Matter organization.
I got the flag hanging from my window.
Of course.
Well, we've started doing this new thing called Blue Lives Magic. It's kind of like a community circus where the cops, we all dress up in different costumes and we try and fit in a clown car. People are engaging with it in different ways. We've got crowds in the tens right now.
No wonder people hate cops nowadays. Good fucking Lord. Oh my God, what a bunch of pansies.
Jesus.
You know what? I think this all started when they started making us wear body cams. You know who doesn't have to wear body cams?
Mm-hmm.
The New York Police Department.
Antifa. You know what, guys? I'll tell you
Antifa.
something. Antifa are the real Nazis of the modern day.
Exactly.
I was gonna say the Punisher. That guy's a fucking rogue, a real cool guy.
He's what every cop, every one of us, strives to want to do.
No fucking pencil pushers holding us back.
I have a gripe with the Punisher. I'll let you know, boys.
What?
So the Punisher is revered by many for his just indiscriminate killing of bad guys, but that's not how the world works. If someone like me were to, say accidentally discharge a firearm and it were to hit someone and they subsequently, passed away, that, you don't get the revere, the comic books. You get the 60 Minutes interview with the family and, your name on all the news channels with cop kills civilian. And then, all of a sudden, you get eggs and shit on your door, bricks through your window. It's a rough life out there for a cop nowadays.
I hear it, man. Everyone is just always looking to scapegoat a cop 24/7.
Hey, but at least you still have your wife and kids supporting you, right?
Exactly.
Detective?
Family unit matters.
Family unit does matter, but my whore of a wife left me after the bad press, so...
My horrible wife.
my horrible wife.
Oh, man.
So yeah, she left me.
Oh my God. Sorry, folks, this is not, in fact, Copcast. This is Honors Film. I'm your host, Noah, and I'm joined today with Alec Christensen, Lucas,
Hello.
and Quinn.
Hey.
Hey.
Now, today, guys, we're talking about a very important movie, as I would say. A very influential superhero movie, kind of changed the entirety of the genre, and is arguably one of the best movies from 2008. I'm, of course, talking about Punisher Warzone.
Drop a bomb, Quinn.
The best superhero movie of 2008, might I add.
Arguably.
With the most twisted villain.
With the most damaged villain out of all of them, and with the most badass superhero. So, what were your guys' initial thoughts with this movie?
Dog shit.
What's wrong with it?
But yeah, what's wrong? What's wrong?
Hey,
with
Quinn,
it?
you're gonna have to back me up on this one.
It was just bad. I don't know what to tell
Yeah,
you guys.
it just sucked.
Okay, I don't think you guys are
fucking haters.
I don't think you guys are in the right mindset for this.
Yeah.
Think about it. That was just
what is
cool.
the right mindset?
Very, very just go into it with a bro positive mindset.
Yeah,
that was
I think,
a cool movie.
Yeah, you
visually.
just kind of need to shut your brain off. When you're watching this movie, you can't really think about it.
You can't always be thinking, you coastal elitist.
Yeah.
Good point.
And it I don't know. I would say it definitely has way better one-liners than Fast and the Furious.
Fair.
I would say the one-liner game didn't hit its peak in the Fast and Furious franchise though until number 4, number 5.
I mean, it did have the crustless scene though. From Fast and the Furious.
The guy, the grown man eating a sandwich with no crust.
Yeah, the crustless sandwich.
Lest we forget.
That was pretty great. That was pretty prime. But I would say after that scene, because it's also got the Fat Burger line as well.
They kind of blew their load in the beginning.
In that same fucking scene, they have the Fat Burger line and the crustless scene. So
they use their one Harvard writer on those 3 minutes.
They use their best writer.
The Punisher kind of blows his load the entire movie in this one. Just constantly, just unwielding thousands of bullets.
Did you just say it's constantly blowing its load?
He is constantly blowing his load on all the animation fights.
Dude,
you can definitely tell Yale men wrote this movie.
Yale men.
Yeah.
You might have to explain. You might have to unpack that a little bit.
As in they went to Yale, writers from Yale instead of Harvard. You can definitely tell.
Smooth brain over here.
Come on, dude.
I don't know.
We're all. I can tell you're not an Ivy League man.
Clearly not. I will say my favorite part about this movie was that it went by really quickly. The first time I checked my watch, I was already about halfway through, and then the second half still went by pretty quickly. I enjoyed the villain as well. I think we should talk about him for a few minutes.
That is some high praise, I must say.
Jigsaw himself.
I think the villain kind of is going to inspire me to watch the Punisher TV show on Netflix, because they're using the same villain from the movie, and they're using him for season 2 of the Punisher. Jigsaw.
Is he the alt-right villain that everyone's freaking out about?
I think so. I don't know,
God bless.
what makes him alt-right.
Italian.
Yeah. Him being Italian American. I was gonna say, is that what makes him alt-right? It's just
like a New Jersey Trump guy, you know.
No rhetoric in the actual film. It's just his accent. That's supposed to throw us off to him being alt-right.
That's all it is. That's all it is. Funny.
He doesn't even talk about white supremacy. He's just kind of from Long Island.
That's just what they say.
Subtext. Maybe we should read a book sometime like this.
Frank Castle's just in his little sewer dungeon, just scoping out who he's going against. He's whatever the fuck Jigsaw's name is. Long Island, huh? That's the only hint of him being
Tony Rigolini.
No, it's Tony Rigatoni.
No, it's Tony Spaghetti, dude.
No,
was he even actually Italian, or is he just kind of a New York
he was
dude?
Italian. He
was
Italian.
Okay.
He was an Italian
His
mob
last name
family.
is literally Rigatoni.
No way.
I mean, it was close.
Probably.
But I think you know it's a dead giveaway for him being Italian. Those pants he wears, the tight pants.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I think it's him telling his wife or his girlfriend when he shows up at the party to shut up. Immediately when they get there.
She goes to say hi. Shut up.
She shut up. Shut up.
It would be even more Italian if he smacked her upside the head.
One other thing we could maybe say for if we want to make an alt-right connection with Jigsaw is that speech he gives in front of the American flag.
Oh my god, dude.
What was that?
That is one of okay, that's like one of my favorite scenes because it's like
I mean, it was very multicultural. I think it was to represent like the U.S. as a melting pot.
Yeah,
When you
like
really
that
think
was so weird. That was such a weird
it's a
scene.
melting
He's
pot
like
that
in the
he goes for all the non-whites for the crime like people.
Well, I mean, yeah, he goes for African Americans. He goes for who else? He goes for
It's
the
like
Irish,
a Latino gang.
Latino gang,
Like the ninjas.
Latinx.
Wait,
And then
they
the
get
Irish.
Latino gang?
The Irish
Oh,
who
yeah,
are
the
obviously
Irish.
Oh,
POC.
right.
Yeah, well, the Irish are oppressed.
So I don't even remember what he says in the speech. Is he just like speaking to the gangs
just-
to rile them
I
up?
think he's just like
speaking gibberish. Like he's just
rambling. Speaking like words to rally the troops against the Punisher.
Yeah, it was like this guy's fucked us all up.
Which
Let's go
I will
beat
say,
his ass.
I don't think this is so much the story of Frank Castle. I think it's the story of Jigsaw. Really,
Yeah.
it's about
I
the
felt like
villain.
it focused more on Jigsaw than it did Frank Castle.
Yeah,
My main takeaway from this movie, like kind of in the same vein, was that like everyone in the movie is kind of a shitty person.
Yeah,
Like even the Punisher,
except
like
the cops.
just like in real life.
well, the cops are just like the cops are just like inept. So they're not even. I mean, they are like kind of bad people.
But they're supposed to be inept on purpose, right? Like the two working with the Punisher, right?
No,
well, one
they're
of
like-
them's not. Isn't one of them after him until the end?
The FBI guy is like
Right.
not
No, the
with him,
cops
but,
are
like,
literally just there to show like
no, like in the beginning when the cop goes up to Frank Castle, like, oh yeah, my partner's here, like, you want to leave with our car or whatever. Like in the very beginning.
I feel like the cops are just there to be like, you see how much cops can't get done because of all these rules they have to follow, whereas like the Punisher
is cool.
You can just go do whatever.
I think that's what inspired me. Is it weird?
Yeah.
I'm like a 19-year-old being inspired by the Punisher.
Well, because like
It's kind of troubling.
Dude, I used to think the Punisher was cool when I was like 8.
Sorry, I just
Q sicko mode.
So I just killed a bug. Sorry.
He's sicko mode. But like I feel like that's kind of the mindset a lot of these like Blue Lives Matter guys have, is they're just like, dude, the Punisher is so fucking cool, like he can just go in and do whatever he wants. Like he doesn't have to follow any rules. He can shoot as many people as he wants, no repercussions.
They don't make the Punisher wear a body cam. Why should I?
Yeah, the Punisher never gets punished.
Well,
who punishes the Punisher?
My theory will challenge that.
Best quote from the movie. Who punishes the Punisher?
I just
Wait, was that a real line from the movie?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's a real
yes.
line in the movie.
Was that meant to be like a Watchmen thing?
I think so. Wait,
Yeah,
what year did
Who
Watchmen
watches
come
the
out?
Watchmen?
Yeah, when did Watchmen come out?
Like the 80s.
Oh, the comic. Yeah, I
Wow.
don't know why I was thinking just
I
of the
can't
movie.
believe Watchmen
But yeah.
ripped off Punisher Warzone. That's fucked up. That's fucked
I
up.
don't know. I don't think they were going for that. I think they were just like, oh, this is kind of funny. These words are the exact same. Ooh,
So, one thing.
those are those dirty Yale writers.
Those dirty Yale writers. So, a thing about Punisher, did you notice the Marvel Knights logo in the beginning?
No.
No,
Okay, so during like the studio logos, they had a logo for Marvel Knights instead of like Marvel Studios or whatever.
is that what it was before?
Well, so I was curious, so I'm just like doing some research now. They only made 2 movies under this banner, but it was meant to be like the darker kind of movies, you know?
Ooh,
Oh, kind of like the Universal like dark,
Kind of like
side or whatever with like the
Dark
mummy.
Universe.
Yeah, the Universal
Similar.
Dark
I don't know if
Universe.
this was meant to be one world or if it was just like a series of movies.
like a housing for like darker stuff.
Yeah. But so they made Punisher Warzone, and do any of you know what the other movie they made was?
Watchmen.
Was it the Daredevil movie?
No,
Oh.
this is it's
That's what I thought it was.
2011.
That's like
And
oh,
it's
like
not
when
like
the
an
actual-
Avengers movie. It's something
What-
else.
when like Marvel Studios was actually a thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's weird.
Batman.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Good one. Those are your 2 jokes for the day.
Got him.
You can leave now. You can
Well, I
leave
said
now.
Green Lantern earlier, and no one heard it. So
Go ahead and clock out.
I don't know. What is it?
Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance.
Oh, yes,
Ah, fuck yeah.
dude. They just make the
but
most
not
like,
the other Ghost Rider movies.
Not the first one, just the second one.
Just the second one, not the third one either. Just the
dude,
second
they
one.
just made the most badass movies
Huh.
down there. Can
Wow.
you bring them back?
No, that's sick. Yeah, bring Marvel Knights
Can we
back.
bring them back?
Wait,
Marvel
is it
Knights?
Knights like Night or
Knight
like,
with a K, like
like an actual knight? Okay.
a classical hero.
Like
Oh,
the,
I was like
Like
I
K
was
and
like
Knife.
of the
I was
Round Table.
preparing myself mentally for like, oh, this is like gonna be dark and edgy. We're gonna use night.
They're
what I was
just
thinking.
movies set during the nighttime.
Well, that's what I was thinking because wait, Punisher doesn't happen during the day. Are there any scenes during the day?
Like maybe like 2. It's like a night movie.
There was the funeral scene.
Oh yeah, but it was raining.
Yeah,
Does
how
that
dumb
count?
was it that he went to that?
That was
thought it
pretty
funny.
ballsy, actually. That was pretty brave.
I thought it was so funny.
I mean, that's kind of like going to your ex-girlfriend's wedding.
And
Like, there's
whom
nothing more
amongst us?
ballsy.
Whom amongst us?
Who amongst us has not been invited to that,
Well, he had to start like.
or will be invited to that?
Yeah. I wonder.
And then
Um,
you know what else was funny about that funeral scene?
What?
The fact that his like wife and kid was also buried at that same funeral, at that same like cemetery.
This isn't like my theory, but this is just like another theory. Like the way he kind of like, I might step on your territory a little here, Noah, so I'll be careful. But
How dare you?
the way that he kind of makes this like his new surrogate family after replacing the man is really kind of freaky.
Dude.
The guy he
Yeah.
guns down.
Yeah. I don't want to say too much about that because I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the vein Noah's theory is on, so
Yeah, you better shut up.
I don't want to trample it.
Okay.
Should we dive in?
Sicko mode.
Before we dive in, does anyone have like a tagline for the movie? Like, you know,
Yeah,
something just to
tagline?
describe it. Yeah, like a tagline. Do you guys have one? I have one. That's why I ask.
Oh, yeah.
I
What
just
is
thought
it?
of one. Made by Italian Americans against Italian Americans.
Nice.
Oh my god,
Okay.
that's good.
Noah, are you going first with the theory?
I mean, like, I kind of, yeah, I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so my theory, Alec kind of hinted at towards it, but actually, I have like something else I kind of want to say first about this movie before we get in. So this was like kind of just like a little bit of an observation. It's not really like a theory, but the reason why I think this movie's so great and so funny is mostly due to the fact that I feel like this movie is like a really good way of putting us into the mind's eye of like how a cop sees the Punisher. Cause like how I said before, there was the scene where when like Frank Castle goes like full sicko mode on the senile old man, and there's like the cops waiting in front of the mansion, right? And they're like, we gotta catch Frank Castle, but it's like, why do we have to catch Frank Castle when he's doing exactly what we wish we could be doing if it wasn't for all this, you know, jurisdiction and all these rules we gotta follow to like not kill people. Like that's like pretty much how I think cops just see the Punisher and why they're so obsessed with his iconography.
Didn't know you were gonna get racist this early into the show.
Dude, I'm targeting.
I think like every
targeting
cop
a
that's
specific
named
group.
or like introduced, like they all say that they wish they could do what the Punisher did.
Yeah, they're all
every
just,
cop
like-
that talks.
Yeah, that's like their whole thing, and there's never like any like dirty cops or anything. Like it's all just so cartoony and like it's like borderline satirical at some points, I feel like, but but it's not, because the villains are so cartoony and so two-dimensional and just have no redeeming factors to them in any way. It's like that's how cops see the world, is like that's how they want us to see the world, as there's the bad guys and there's the good guys, and the bad guys are Italian Americans and and the good guys are the cops, and that's like pretty much this movie. That's just
Honestly,
that's just my like little observation I picked up on.
That's just how it is, really.
That's really how it is.
I actually think like you could make a really interesting like dark comedy based off the Punisher, probably,
Oh yeah.
or like based off this like with the same movie if you filmed it differently and
Kind of
like
like a Deadpool.
had not even like a Deadpool where it's just like ironic, like
Yeah,
humor
it has
or
to
whatever,
be like a
but it
little
has
bit
to be
more
like kind of like
self-serious.
subversive, almost like questioning like
I feel like Edgar
like
Wright could probably do a
policing.
good one.
yeah, I almost think it needs to be a little darker than that,
A
but
little bit more.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like you were saying, like there are times where it's like, how is this not satire?
Yeah, which is why I thought it was so funny. is because of that. It's just because of how ridiculous it was, because of how cartoony and just stupid and childlike it really was.
Right.
But
I think all superhero movies are like a little like right wing reactionary, you know, because like I mean superheroes are just like kind of above the law, whatever.
Yeah, there's
you know,
just
doing
like
things how they should be done. But this movie is like almost kind of like full on like fash.
Yeah, everything's just like beat for beat, like very just very kind of generic.
Yeah.
With what it tries to do. And that's why it's a masterpiece, and that's why it's the greatest movie ever made. So going into my actual theory, that was just a little observation that I made that I thought was funny. I'm going into the theory where Frank Castle himself is cuckolding a dead man. And basically, Alec was kind of hinting at it earlier, but at some point in the movie, Frank Castle, spoiler alert, if you have not seen this movie, do watch it. Where Frank Castle kills an undercover cop during one of his sicko mode raids, where he just shoots everyone without asking any questions, just guns down all the bad guys, right? But at one point, he accidentally kills an undercover cop. And after killing this undercover cop, he proceeds to go to the undercover cop's funeral to basically, it's argued that he's there because he feels bad, but what I think he's doing is he's trying to scope out some P-Tang. He's trying to scope out some the wife, the widow of this funeral. And basically it's just, the whole movie is just Frank Castle trying to like recreate his family, because throughout the movie you can see that he's just trying to get away from his dark and dirty life that he's currently living. He lives in a shitty ass sewer under the
that is such like a dumb guy like way to be
okay,
like a storage unit or whatever.
It's like a studio apartment those size. Like he could be doing worse. It's New York. Like
in this
economy, he could be doing worse.
Yeah, he like could do worse than living in shit underground with no.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it's a decently sized place. I'm sure it's like rent controlled. Like, it couldn't be that bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure, Lucas.
So, but yeah, the Punisher went to like the mafia funerals too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think like. Did you think the Punisher went to like the mafia funerals too? Scope out the wives, like the.
I mean, maybe it's a possibility.
Or do you think he only went because he's like, oh, this is a cop wife. She's already used to the lifestyle.
Oh. He doesn't fuck with Italian Americans.
After like the sixth funeral he goes to from like killing off family members, no one goes like, who the fuck is this guy that keeps showing up?
They're like, oh, that's Frank. Just like let him be. Like there's just like just let him stay over there.
No one puts it together.
He's looking for some single bitches.
He's far, but he's not that far away. He's like maybe like
a couple feet away. Like
he's probably like 10 yards away. He's like 10 yards away.
There's cops there. There's cops there that know who he is and what he looks like.
Yeah, dude, he's yeah. I don't know. I guess.
Well, all the cops also love him. All the cops.
Yeah, dude, he probably signed autographs while he was there.
Yeah,
all the cops just sign like autographs at a funeral. I hope to be that famous one day.
I gotta ask a question, and this might just be me like being a bad viewer, but what was he before? I know in like the comics, like when he was first created, he was like a Vietnam vet.
A soldier, right?
Yeah,
he's like a beat cop now. I think like he was just a normal cop, maybe like SWAT. I think he was SWAT. But he was like ex-special forces.
In like the Thomas Jane one, the one that came out like a couple years before this, he was like an FBI dude. He's always like something different. I just was curious.
I think in this one and in like the Netflix series, which is why the Netflix series is so popular, it's based off the movie, probably. It's he's like a ex-special forces dude.
Okay.
And I think in this one he was like a special forces trainer too.
I guess that gives some context for like his skill or whatever.
Like his skill set, being able to like literally rip a person's head off.
Or like punch a dude's head so hard it explodes.
Like a cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild.
Checks out. But going back to the theory a little bit, like we see that he's trying to completely get rid of this like dark and like terrible life that he's kind of living, because because at the end of the movie, he just he's like just fine with his like gun dealer pal taking the bullet. Like he's like whatever. But like I guess that's also a little bit justified. But I'm sure he didn't give that much of a shit about his gun dealer pal biting the bullet. And also like how he's just like willing to like let the family just come into his
sewer apartment.
Abode. Yeah, into his humble abode. And how like he lets the daughter play with his daughters and sons like toys. It's like it's a little creepy. And then he lets them like sleep there instead of like I don't know taking them to the fucking police or something. Instead he's
just
like
a man ravaged by loss and is like unable to cope with it.
He's like staring at the kids when they're at school too from like across the street. Has like a really
that was so creepy. That was so creepy.
Well, to be fair, we know that all cops do that.
Do they?
Well, they just go sit outside the schools.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that's true actually.
Is it because they're like watching out for school shooters or something?
No, this is 2008. Those didn't exist back then.
Oh, okay.
You have to keep in mind like the politics of 2008 America.
Dude, I don't know anything. I don't remember.
Oh, simpler times.
Oh,
dude, apparently they were really bad if we need the Punisher just to go like murder everyone.
I just remember Obama got elected. That's probably why they made this movie. They were like, this is the world that's going to happen under the Obama administration.
And you know what? Not too far off.
Yeah.
I mean.
Jesus. Awesome.
Awesome. Epic.
Good job.
Yeah, cut that. That was awful. That was awful. Yeah, hey, we don't even need to hear theory number 2.
We're done, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to Honors Film. As always, it's a pleasure.
But yeah, I thought like he was gonna like slip under the bed when like the girl and the little kid was under there, and like me and Quinn were like making jokes about it, and we were like, he's gonna like slip under there and like talk to her daughter and be like, hey, is it cool if I fuck your mom or something? Like he just slips under, and it's like, you got to play with my dead kid's toys, so therefore I get to play with your mom. And then just like he just
Fist
goes
bump.
in.
It's the awkward confrontation. Awkward confrontation. You're trying to like talk with your like date's kid. It's like that level of awkwardness times 10.
Oh yeah.
You could actually make such a good comedy about like the Punisher, and it's just like this completely like bereft man who's like trying
giving
this
dating
isn't really like actually kind of a fact comedy, but just the really bereft man trying to like reassimilate into the world and like get like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like young Arnold to play him because he like bad English and he's just like
Sylvester Stallone. So can Sylvester Stallone take that role?
He also has bad English.
He just speaks like there's syrup coming out of his mouth.
Oh man! All right.
Insert audio file of Hank.
Any final thoughts?
Did you think
Noah?
this movie? Sorry.
Oh, Quinn.
Did you think the movie suffered from like whine like a little bitch-itis?
Whine like a little bitch-itis? Dude, just get over your dead wife and kids. Calm down.
No, okay, but so like, you know that that Netflix series about Daredevil? So, like,
yeah.
He goes through that whole series like just slapping people in the face with chains and like hitting them with like just really ridiculously like large objects, like definitely killing like half the people he interacts with, but it's like, oh, they're always all passed out, so he can, you know, bring him to jail, because like if they had an episode where he killed someone, the next season would be like him whining like a little bitch. Oh, I killed someone. Can I keep doing my job anymore? I don't fucking know. Like I feel like this movie didn't really need the Punisher having like his moral issues. Oh, I accidentally killed someone that I thought was bad.
Dude, he mopes around for so long.
He does kind of like mope on it for a while. But maybe that's his way of like getting in good with the wife.
He's like not in a good place, to be fair.
Maybe he's like, oh, if I show her I'm remorseful for shooting her husband, I'll get to fuck her.
What's like the timeline of the Punisher, like from when his wife and kids died, when he looked like Rob Gronkowski, to him being like the Punisher?
I think I read the Wikipedia, and I think it said the movie's like timeline is like 5 years.
Okay, like
5 years. He's been going at it for 5 years.
I guess that's like good enough time for him to get back in the dating pool.
Yeah, no, I like props to Frank.
Yeah,
he's out there, man. He's out there.
I don't know, dude. He's living in the sewer. Like
Okay.
Dude, it's a bachelor
He's like-
pad.
He's like the next level of floor mattress guy.
Bachelor pad.
I mean, he has his own
You know,
place though. He has his own
I wish he
place.
was. You know, it would be like the best if he was sleeping on an air mattress. That would make it more relatable to me.
In the sewer.
Did we ever
in the
see his
sewer.
bed? Did we ever see his bed? Is it raised?
Yeah, we see his bed.
Is it raised
Yeah,
off the
it's
floor?
raised, sadly.
Yeah, not realistic.
Not realistic enough. And he like at least needed like a couple more like posters of like women on motorcycles or some shit like that.
He has like a neon beer sign,
Yeah, he has like the
like
the
right
St.
above his
Paul-
like
what's
Mac 10s.
What's the name of that like beer? The St. Pauli's Girl or whatever it's called.
I don't know. That's like an old person beer. If it's not a crisp IPA, I wouldn't know. Being an Ivy League man. Being an
it's the
Ivy
St.
League
Pauli
man.
Girl.
All right. Noah, do you have any final thoughts on
Um,
yours?
not really. Other than Frank's a dirty bastard, and leave that woman alone.
He's a
Bro
slime
positive. Bro
Leave that woman
positive.
alone.
Bro, leave that poor woman alone.
It
She
is
doesn't
kind of
need your
fucked to like
baggage.
try and get with the woman that you made a widow.
Well, I think
I
it's
just think
weird
there
that
is
she's
something,
like,
like,
that's kind of an
fundamentally,
alpha
like,
move.
There is
Actually,
something like fundamentally
that's
like
kinda alpha.
I think it's weird that she like kind of forgives him. Not forgives him, but like forgets that he put a bullet through her husband. Like
Yeah,
even if
she's
it's
very forgiving.
it's on accident or I thought he was an Italian American. Like
Actually, you know
Like,
what?
still-
I think that's I think that's kind of an alpha move.
the man's presence and holding them hostage in his like apartment, sorry, is like
It's definitely
layer.
it's like
Shut
it's the
up.
most it's the most
fucking
alpha thing.
layer.
It's the
a
most
layer
alpha
that
thing you can
everyone
do.
knows about. It's a layer that everyone knows exists.
There's a line that people say not to cross, and that's what happens when you cross it. You get the girl.
Yeah. You just get that. You just get that sweet
Widow
looking
pussy.
good. Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to go that far.
Well, someone has to. Someone has to get canceled for our podcast to get famous.
Someone has to get canceled.
I'll fall on my own sword.
you know that
Yeah.
picture of like just people in like a park having fun with all the really bloody soldiers holding them up.
Yeah.
That's Lucas underneath us. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and begin mine. Mine's all about
Alright.
punishment and like self-punishment. So to
We're
begin,
getting all philosophical.
yeah, we're gonna start with
here.
some philosophy.
Wow,
So-
fucking nerd.
Someone's taking
Foucault-
philosophy 101 this semester.
No, I didn't. I took it
Oh
last
yeah.
year.
Oh, okay.
So in Discipline and Punish, which is what we're naming this episode,
Maybe.
Maybe.
Foucault writes that punishment is an exercise of terror, which works to make everyone aware through the body of the criminal, the unrestrained presence of the sovereign. So, like, I think this is kind of a main idea in the film. This isn't really part of my theory, but the Punisher's whole MO is like just killing people, right? Killing
Mhm.
criminals. And he's like aligned with the state, even if he's not part of it. Do we all agree?
Yeah.
I would say so. Like the cops
Great.
look up to him like a hero.
Yeah, like the cops are inept, as I have in my notes, but they kind of enable him and encourage him, and part of their ineptness is to like assist him. So he is kind of like the enforcement of the state and like restores the law, right? So then Foucault goes on to say that discipline makes the body more obedient as it becomes more useful, and punishment should strike the soul rather than the body. So with this is kind of where I'm going to build my theory from, that the idea that Frank Castle, and we've talked about it on the show already, that he's haunted by like failing his family and letting them be killed. And as Noah kind of talked about, he's trying to recreate his family with this family that he's kind of forced into being. So I think
By
that
divine
he's not only
intervention.
exactly, yeah, quote unquote. So not only is the Punisher punishing others for breaking the law, but he's also punishing himself for failing his family. And I think the most like obvious example of this is probably the fact that the movie introduces this really weird attempt at like character development that ends up not moving at all. Because like throughout the movie, he kind of debates the value of his quest, and it's like he's uncertain. He doesn't want to kill people. He's been doing this for 5 years. He's like super jaded. And it's like not really making his guilt any better, but it is something he has to do. And for a long time, especially when he's like with the little girl of this family that he's like trying to take care of, he's starting to realize like, oh, maybe I'm like also a bad person.
Yeah, he's trying to realize
with his real eyes.
Yeah, with his real eyes.
To give a quote, who punishes the Punisher?
Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly.
Maybe
he punishes himself.
Is not good.
Yeah.
I also like think it's worth comparing Frank Castle to like a Travis Bickle Taxi Driver kind of character, except like the appeal of Taxi Driver was that it was in the 70s when New York was actually like shitty and the cops actually were inept. And so now today, like New York City, when you have like stop and frisk and like an already overzealous police force, it reads a little weird. And I think that just shows like the filmmakers are just dumb and don't know how to like read a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the bulk of my theory is that he's punishing himself. And even though he doesn't enjoy killing, it's something he has to do to keep punishing himself and punishing others. Can't stop, won't stop. And then like the very last scene of the movie, it's his buddy is getting mugged. And you could think he's like helpless. He is helpless.
Yeah.
And you think there's no hope. But then Frank Castle shows up and shoots him and kills him. And I think that kind of cements the fact that he can escape the cycle even if he wants to. And it also just negates this whole like interesting arc that they could have like done. I don't think it would have been very creative, but it would have been like interesting to like question the morality of killing, you know, and like the morality of like this like extrajudicial murderer. But they didn't.
They kind of did it, but like they just had to mope around.
Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think there's some grounds to your theory.
Thank you.
I think the way in which like he kills people so fucking brutally that like it's kind of like it goes beyond like just being like cool. Like it kind of gets a little like too grotesque at points and a little bit too over the top.
Yeah.
To where I could see like your theory kind of shining through a little bit, especially like one.
Good.
Oh, like one of my favorite parts was of like just needless violence with this movie was when he like opens up the like elevator shaft and there's some guy like hotboxing the elevator shaft and he fucking blows his head off.
That's a metaphor for the New York Police Department.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing something illegal.
Stop and frisk.
It's like this fat guy just hotboxing an elevator shaft and his head gets blown off. But I mean, I feel like there's like a certain degree to him liking it because like he kills people in kind of creative ways sometimes. Because like there's the free runners. Which
that's my favorite moment. The guy's doing like the early 2000s parkour across the buildings.
Like parkour's super cool. The
Mirror's Edge just came out.
Yeah.
Oh, the music!
He freaking lands an RPG on the guy who's like jumping midair.
Yeah,
oh my God,
fucking YYB like 360 no scopes the guy.
I think with that actually is interesting because like films like especially like this are like really reactionary to like social anxieties and stuff, and I think people were just fucking terrified of people free running and like so irritated. So this film just gives like audiences the catharsis of like just murdering these people.
I don't know why they like
free runners.
I don't know why like the
Welsh
smugglers.
black guys.
Yeah, I don't know why the smugglers or whatever they are like are free runners too. Like, are they free runners because they're smugglers and bad people, or are they like is that like something they do on the side? Like, I don't think that's the most effective way to like get across rooftops. Rooftops is like free running. Like,
cooler,
take a cab or the subway. Like,
but it looks better. Shut up.
Free running is such a myth. I asked a guy in high school who claimed he could free run to show me something cool, and he like kind of like just climbed over a railing and was like, "Yeah, I vaulted it," and I was like, "Well, you got over it." But
dude,
and like not to bring up The Office, but like that scene where they do the parkour. No, the scene where they do the parkour, that's just like actually good. That's actually funny because that's what those people look like in real life.
A little background information. Alec loves The Office. thinks it's the best comedy ever written,
No, I don't think
and
it is.
will stand it. That is not true.
He's got
He
a fat
loves
crush
The
on
Office.
Pam.
I like it. I've watched it
He
through a
also
couple
likes
times.
Friends.
He sees
No,
himself
I
as
don't
a
like
Jim.
Friends. I don't like Friends. I don't like
He
Friends.
sees himself as Jim, obviously.
And he's looking for a Pam.
When in reality he's more of a Dwight.
Oh.
That's the thing. I don't really watch The Office.
But Dwight
Like,
gets
I've seen
some.
it.
Like Dwight gets a lot.
So here's the thing: Dwight gets a blonde, like short girl. Like that's like what you want. That's the ideal mate.
Exactly.
Dwight has more on-screen sex than Jim.
So okay, we're getting into like the Office episode. This is when we reach like episode 12.
We're going off topic. We're
Shit.
derailing the
Yeah,
conversation.
Yeah.
So back to the Punisher. Let's talk about the jailbait scene.
Well, 1 second. Do you remember the scene where they show the grandma's head just blown off?
Oh my god! Yes.
Like for no reason. Like they kill that guy's grandma or something, and then,
His senile grandmother.
yeah, but then they just decide to show like her head just totally eviscerated, like no longer even there.
But then when Frank Mercy kills.
Yeah, when
that
Frank
one
Mercy
Mexican
kills this
guy.
person, I feel like based off of the other thing, we should have seen that guy's head blow up too. But that's the one thing that they actually obscure. They don't show.
They blew all their budget on the grandma head blowing up.
They're like, no, fuck that.
That was like the film. That was the scene that was filmed last.
No, shut up. They blew the budget. Fucking free runners.
Yeah, those guys.
They had to contact like a local parkour gym. Like, hey, we need you here between the hours of like 7 p.m. and 8 a.m.
That's
We
why
need you just to like
that's
vault a
why-
rail like 4 times.
That's why they had to get some old senile man for the first scene.
Yeah, that guy just wandered into set. I swear to God, the
Hey,
grandpa, the mafioso.
Oh, that guy
Real quick.
was so bad. Oh my god.
Best kill of the movie. What was your guys' favorite kill?
Oh fuck.
The end, because it told me everything I had like suspected to be true about this movie.
Dude, at the end they played it like as like a funny thing. Like it was like, oh Frank, like where are you? Like haha, like
These
I
people
think-
are psychotic.
You know what my favorite kill is? I think honestly the last when he kills Jigsaw and he says this isn't the end for you, this is only the beginning, but he just killed him.
so I guess it really is the end. It is the end.
Like what the fuck?
Like
And
how much
also-
better would that like development have been if you would have like said that line and not killed him? Think about that.
Maybe instead of punishing Alec, what if this movie, instead of punishing the Punisher, it's punishing us?
Punishing us,
Yeah,
For being
the
dumb to
audience.
buy
I
tickets
I,
to
Dude, that'd be
I
meta as
feel
shit.
I feel punished.
that'd be meta as shit if the
Like, they
Punisher can
intentionally did
punish
it bad.
everyone, including his audiences.
I don't think that's a bad theory because I do think this movie I did feel kind of just ill afterwards, and the violence in this movie isn't fun. It's just
Kind of
Kind of
good.
You're
like,
telling me when
upsetting.
he's upside down off the chandelier, just spinning in circles, just hoping to God that he's hitting people, that wasn't fun?
It's like a Tarantino
okay. That's
scene.
that's
I'm not
like
gonna
a one.
lie.
That's the one exception. Everything
That's
else, I'll even say
something
I think Tarantino has fun violence. You know, I think violence can be fun or cathartic or redemptive or whatever, depending on the movie.
Yeah.
But this movie is just gratuitous and just absurd. It's just
I
like
think
we
that's what
can.
makes it funny though.
I don't
No,
know.
I think it's funny, but it's funny in a psychotic way.
Yeah, I would never say it's the best so bad it's good movie.
No,
And I wouldn't say it's for everyone because Quinn didn't like it. I know Quinn didn't like it very much. Did you?
Not really. It was so bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's either you think it's funny or you don't. There's really not a lot of middle ground.
Dude,
but the one-liners in this movie are spectacular.
I signed up for an MMA membership after I watched that movie. Went to my local MMA gym. Yeah, I don't know. The movie was just fucking sick.
I signed up for Brazilian kickboxing.
No,
After this movie.
Brazilian
I hunted down a drug dealer.
I became a voluntary deputy.
I bought 2 Mac 10s on my dad's credit card after watching this movie.
Yeah.
I go
But,
around and every time I see someone argue with an employee in a restaurant, I perform a citizen's arrest on them and then just brutally beat the shit out of them.
Just so their face is completely unlike.
Oh,
you can't
dude.
even
I
tell
turned
who
them
it
into
is
Jigsaw.
anymore.
I turned them
Yeah,
into
you
Jigsaw.
turn them into Jigsaw.
That's the joke that's gonna
You
get
throw
like
them in a glass, like
Homeland
grinder
Security at your
or
door,
whatever.
Alec. Not
That's
Homeland
the one.
Security. That's
The
the one.
Mounties, the Royal
Yeah,
Mounties.
yeah, the Canadian Royal Mounted
They're gonna
Police are
knock
just gonna
on
show
your
up at your
door
door.
and give you a high
Oh,
five.
howdy there.
They're gonna ride their horses up the stairs in my building.
And give you a high five.
Be like, oh yeah.
Actually, no, I don't know how Canadian police work.
Just a side
Are
note,
they
I saw
pro
Super Troopers
Punisher?
2.
Are they pro Punisher or anti Punisher?
No, they're pro like I don't know, what's like a Canadian superhero that's pretty badass? Like, are they Wolverine fans?
The Green
Wolverine.
Hornet.
Oh, is the Green Hornet Canadian?
Seth Rogen. Well, Seth Rogen.
Oh, right. Dude, Seth Rogen's like the icon in Canada.
He
Like,
is.
like
He was
Western-
on our
Western
like
Canada.
public
That's
transit.
great.
He was doing the announcements on our public transit after Morgan Freeman got canceled.
Like, did he do his dumb little Seth Rogen laugh?
Wait, Morgan
Yes.
Freeman got canceled?
Yeah,
that
Morgan
kind of thing?
Freeman harasses women, dude.
Damn.
Really?
Yeah, Alan
Yeah.
Arkin almost beat the shit out of him on a movie a couple years ago because he
Wait,
was just
really?
being super.
What movie?
Oh, how did I miss that one?
The whatever it was, like the old men heist movie,
Oh,
Last Laugh or something. I don't know.
Ocean's 11.
yeah.
Ocean's 8.
I forget what it's called. No, I want to know.
But yeah, my
Going
entire
in
like
style.
Oh,
my entire like view on like the mounted police. I just watched Super Troopers 2, and I'm not gonna go into too deep, but it takes place in Canada, which is like recently acquired by the U.S. And that's what my vision of the Mounties. Yeah. Okay. Hey, no laughing, no laughs, because that's gonna be like episode 15.
They acquire the U.S. or
Hey,
U.S. acquires
okay.
Canada.
Well,
Lucas,
I'm not gonna
hold
go
on,
into it.
Pause. Lucas, you get like one stoner movie every like 50 episodes.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have a week of Lucas, and it's just gonna be me doing the podcast by myself. Just every day for a week is gonna be just the shittiest, worst comedies.
Dude,
I
that's
can
just gonna be like so brain dead. It's gonna
Oh.
be like the American Pie series.
Oh, dude, how many American Pie movies are there? Like 8, 9, something like that.
There's American Pie, American Pie 2. There's at some point American Reunion, American Wedding, and there's some. I think American Reunion comes after American Wedding. I'm not.
I think
completely
I know
sure.
American Reunion's the last one because that came out when we were like in high school, right?
I don't.
Yeah,
know.
Like
that's
that came out like pretty recently, like after like that, like
2013-ish.
Yeah, like it came out after those movies were done. Like those movies had their time from like what, like 98 to like 2005, 2006.
Dude, the American Pie movies are.
Hey, let's stop with that. That's gonna be the episode titled "We Finally Beat Joe Rogan." Eat our boots.
With the American Pie series, we just do
Yeah.
it all.
Oh my gosh, dude, that episode writes itself. Anyway.
Anyway,
Oh,
back to
gosh.
the Punisher.
Yeah, be ready for episode 15.
The future is bright.
The future is bright for following episodes. All right, back to the Punisher. I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit like with the cinematography, because like the cinematography was like at times weirdly good. At points,
Was it?
like I thought it was. I thought it had some like pretty cool shots.
I think they blew their load in the beginning.
I don't think you can
Really?
just like tilt the camera 45 degrees and be like, "Oh, look at us."
No. No, I was specifically talking about. Actually, no. The cinematography is kind of dog shit. I'm just thinking of one scene where and it's the funeral scene. And it's when he's like sitting down next to his like wife and dead kid's grave, and like it has this like cool like where like we're we're like above him and like we slowly move up. That was like a pretty cool shot. But why is everything in this movie like neon? Like
I think it's just one of those like you guys saw Suicide Squad, right?
Nope.
yeah.
It's just like it has like a very like a Hot Topic neon like opening credit scene, and then like Atomic Blonde is really similar. I think it's just like these weird like quote unquote edgy movies try and do that. I think it's just become part of their aesthetic. And if you're gonna sell merchandise at Hot Topic, this isn't even like a theory. I think this is like actually a correlation. I do think there is a
Which is
connection
true.
between these weird neon aesthetics and the Hot Topic merchandise.
Yeah, but
Well,
like
that
I
like
feel
is the aesthetic.
I think it
No,
it appeals to that audience.
I feel like this was like a little bit before like neon kind of took over.
I don't think this is like a neon thing though, is it?
It has.
I think
a
it's
lot
just
of
like
neon.
I think it's just like dark and gritty.
He
Like look
literally
at me.
goes
Yeah, I
into
noticed
a
more of the
fucking
dark and
neon
gritty.
church. Like he goes into a neon church.
I think that's a weird like that's like this is like the pre like 2010 like churches relatable thing. Like with the mega churches. I think that's how they got people in the door.
Yeah.
In 2010, when they abolished
But
the
like,
church.
why would Frank Castle be going to that church, and why has he been going to the church since like before his family got murked?
Do we know that? Or did he find God after his
remember
like family
he like
died?
goes there, and the priest is like I haven't seen you since, and then Frank Castle cuts him off, of course, because one of these lines, and he's
back
like,
when Frank Castle was blonde.
accident.
Do you think he was like? Do you think he was like happier when he was blonde, or do you think like when he dyed his hair, his personality shifted? Yes. Like in his little flashback in the park. I'll go back and up like this on this. He looked like Rob Gronkowski.
Is he like naturally blonde, or is he not?
I'm not sure what the subtext on that is supposed to be.
It's supposed to mean he's happier. It's like
because like does that mean
blondes have more fun? Yeah.
It's like a fucking high school. It's like a high schooler made it, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna give him blonde hair when he's
happier. He was wearing like
when he's sadder, he'll have dark hair."
He was wearing like
his moves.
He was wearing like a polo and khakis too. Like what changes his style? Like his family dies and his style changes. Okay, these fake hoes.
It's kind of like when you like break up with someone, you get a haircut.
That was a hard breakup.
A hard breakup.
I don't think it was.
Oh, like this is like his version of like a breakdown in life. He's like, I'm gonna dye my hair. I'm gonna dye my hair.
It's actually his midlife crisis.
Yeah, when you have a midlife, having a midlife crisis when your family just dies.
What if his family didn't even die? Like, what if he just got like divorced, and he's just like delusional about it?
He like convinced himself that they died, but
yeah,
she actually just left him because he kept buying guns.
Yeah, he just kept buying guns from this fat guy.
He kept buying guns and like leather trench coats, and she's like, this doesn't seem like to raise my daughter.
You keep going and playing D&D with that fat guy that you buy guns from. When are you gonna spend time with me and your daughter?
Yeah, is that like a friend Frank Castle's made in the last like 5 years? His little gun running buddy.
But then he's like just like, but like then he's just like fine. No, he's just fine when he gets killed.
I like how he has to buy guns after every like job. He never gets to like reuse the same ones.
Well, because he drops them. He doesn't reload them. He's like, no, I don't have the money for bullets.
Badass.
I'm gonna do fucking one clip. I guess he holds a gun in each hand. So I'm gonna use 2 clips. Boom, boom, boom. Drop it. Pull out more guns from my invisible sack, like I'm Zelda.
Yeah, dude, can't put the gun back.
But then
in
it
my
like
empty
screws
holster.
him over. And it screws him over at the end of the movie because then he only has one.
Exactly. That's the point, dude. The point of the movie is you should be better prepared.
I think it just comes back down to that everyone in this movie is incredibly unwell and incredibly stupid. And I think you just have to consider that when you're talking about this, because I don't think we can look for logic in the choices of Frank Castle or the villain or anyone else.
Or the lines of the villain's like sidekick.
Looney Bin Jim.
Looney Bin Jim.
A movie original character.
Dude.
That man had no reason to be in there, no basis to be in there. They were just the Yale writers were like, you know what'd be really fun? giving Jigsaw a brother that's like in a psych ward.
Okay, but you know what I have to say to the Yale writers? Thank you for putting him into this movie.
First time a Yale man's ever been thanked.
he made this movie so great, especially when he like eats the like fat guy that like would always eat his sauce.
Oh, that line was cute. What was it? The kidney line?
Did you know that?
I'm gonna get my applesauce back. Did you know kidneys and applesauce are a delicacy in Sweden? Did you know that? Yes. Yummy, yummy, yummy in my tummy, tummy, tummy.
And also, like, can we talk about how Jigsaw called the 6-year-old girl jailbait?
Yeah, that was fucking weird.
Like, I get that they just want to make Italian Americans look bad as possible, but
Like all Yale men do.
but like Jesus Christ.
I watch like the movie, like all the movies I just watch for people because I think it's like more fun and like helps like get your like the comedy stuff down a bit better. And just watching that one, it would like you could just like there was silence in the room when that happened. We just kind of looked at each other like, what the fuck just happened? You just called like a 7-year-old jailbait.
Yeah, he was like, "Who are you gonna save, your fatso friend or this nice piece of jailbait over here?"
Just twisted.
And is it weird that like his face getting all cut up? I get like he was supposed to be like Billy the Beauty, right? Was that the thing, Billy the Beauty or whatever his name was? Like I get that, like
Billy Rigatoni.
Yeah, like I get it. Like you're supposed to be handsome, but like, does that mean like he broke down psychologically after that, or has he always been like that bad?
He's always been like that.
He's
always been
awesome.
He's always been hitting on 6-year-olds.
Some things never change. Am I right?
Yeah. All right. Let's I think we're good on time, so maybe we should wrap up.
All right. So I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
You guys got anything else to say?
No, I think we covered it. Any last highlights?
Chandelier. Just one call out for the chandelier spin. Just let's draw attention to that real quick.
Yeah, you have to admit that's pretty cool.
Like goes upside down, pulls out 2 MAC-10s, and just spins in a circle with just the force of the guns.
I thought that was kind of one of the not as cool.
What was your best? What was the best kill then? What was the best like
the free runner kill?
No.
That was like the one like cathartic violent.
Yeah. Either the free runner kill or the jigsaw kill
the
because of
the elevator, just how dumb it was.
the elevator hotbox, yeah.
Guy did nothing wrong. Smoked a little bit of reefer and just gets shot in the head.
Fat white guy that he just blew his head off because he was smoking pot. Like,
and the guy's like, "Oh man," like raspberry. He knows I'm about to fucking die, but he's like, "Oh,
that was
shucks.
Today." All right. So on that note, I think we're gonna wrap it up with the Punisher Warzone.
And next week we're gonna be doing a timeless movie, a real Harvard's man, an intellectuals movie. Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
No more of this Yale bullshit, folks.
Yeah.
We're really upping our intelligence with these movies.
Yeah, we're episode 3 is when Joe Rogan calls us.
Finally.
Shouts out to the guys over at Copcast. Check them out.
Yeah, shout out.
And we'll be back next week. Bye.